Today's episode is brought to you by Blizzcon. Twas the night before Blizzcon, and all through the show, the hosts saw no Sombra, but little did they know. A new patch would go up, not a hero revealed, salt in the wound that never seemed to be healed. The hosts were riled up for the big reveal ahead, while more Sombra fan art made Blevins wish he were dead. Whine, moan, and cry, BlizzCon would be coming soon, but until that day, it's still high noon.
Drop the beat.
Hello everyone and welcome to the High Noon Podcast, the competitive Overwatch podcast. I am your host, the Blevins. With me, as always, is Deathblow. What's up, buddy?
Not too much, Rap God. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah.
Congratulations on not screwing that up. You
I
did
know.
One take.
That was one take with a little bit of practice before, one like dry run beforehand, but that was one take. And it only took 50 minutes to get that take done.
Yes. So we're like already exhausted from resolving technical issues because Skype is the new iTunes, and that just means that it's hot garbage.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a little bit of trouble today, but we're rolling along and trying to keep up with the World Cup as it unfolds while we record. So that's always fun.
Yeah, we pretty much just want to get this done and over with. A, because there's not a lot to talk about, and B, because I want to go back and watch some World Cup. I actually really want to watch the match of the week this week because I didn't get to catch it.
Yeah, I only caught the end of it. It's just the ending was so strong that it had to be it. It was so close, but we'll get into that in just a little bit here.
Yeah, so let's move right along. And before we do move along, let's just say officially that this is probably going to be a short episode. Probably our shortest. Though, if history tells us anything, every single time we've said that, we've had a normal-sized episode. So I'm prefacing it with that. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I don't know. But let's move on to our housekeeping. We did have a new iTunes review this week, Death.
Yes, we did. G-Hellfire left us a 5-star review titled Great Podcast. So immediately starting out with a lie, always good. I really enjoy listening to the podcast. You guys are very funny and informative. Keep up the great work. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for the review. There are also other ones, and I think I've started to notice some of the problems with people that have said they've reviewed and then we've not read them. Is apparently there's different regions of iTunes that will have completely different review sets and all these things. So
that
to
seems
our EU fans,
almost completely useless.
right.
For
It
us.
just seems like a huge problem.
Well, it's not useless that it happens.
Right. We apologize to anybody on the EU side of things that has left a review and we have not read it. We simply don't know it exists. So if anybody knows how we can view those reviews, please do let us know, because I will happily check them every week so we can make sure you guys get your shout outs. And I mean, you deserve it. You sit here and listen to our NA bias just constantly. So shout outs to you, and we'll make sure you guys get your reviews read once we find them.
We want to be able to view the reviews of EU. Got there. Yeah. I'm in a rhyming schema now.
Rap God confirmed.
Rap God confirmed Marino. But let's move on. What did we do last week? Deathblow. Did you do anything fun this week?
No. I was grinding quick play like a madman, trying to prestige while the Halloween event is going. And I was successfully able to do so. And I'm currently trying to get around 20 levels or so while they're discounted. So I'm working on that basically as soon as we are done recording, which means I will be throwing the stream up. And at the end of it, there will be a mass loot box opening, because I currently have like 20 or so sitting around. So there might also be, depending on how terrible I am at them, because the worse you open, the better, obviously, for a YouTube video. I might just post it up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com.
Yeah, you should.
Shout out to everyone who subscribed to help us get that fancy URL.
Yes, we've been getting a lot of like trickle ins now. It's great. It's like once you get there, it's like, oh yeah, we know you don't need it anymore, so here, take a sub.
All these people that were like, I could never find it, and then now
That's
we
true.
told them, you can just go straight to youtube.com/HighNoonPodcast. I'm gonna see
I
how
think
many
it's
times
youtube.com/c/HighNoonPodcast.
I thought so too, and I said that on the last episode, and then turns out I was wrong, because if I just type in
youtube.com/HighNoonPodcast, it works.
I go straight there.
Oh, awesome! Take that, C.
Yeah, nobody it even started playing our last episode.
Nice, another view in the bank. But I've been playing a lot of Battle Right lately, actually. No, you need to get you're slowly losing out on your ability to get in on Battle Right because I'm moving in. I'm moving in on it.
I'll be happy to join it and play. It's a game style I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage anybody to check it out who hasn't played a similar game in the genre. I'm just holding out for the free to play.
They might actually not go free to play anymore.
Well, that would be the worst.
I think it honestly. So without going too deep into a overwrite Battle Watch. I mean, oh god, it's happening. Overwatch game. I think it would be detrimental to the game itself if it went free to play in the same vein as like League of Legends, because the variety of gameplay, the gameplay itself is all that like is what the game is, right? So like, and the games are quick. So if you just, for instance, let's just say there's a 5-hero rotation, which isn't uncommon. It'd be uncommon for a game with this few heroes. There's only 17. Let's just say it's 5 or 3. 3 is probably more likely. 3-hero weekly rotation. So you start playing the game, you play one of these 3 heroes, and that's all you have until you unlock another one. But while you're doing that, all you're playing against is one of these 3 heroes. So like your first, 20 games are all going to be like mirror matches or like against one of these 3 heroes. That is not conducive to the game growing, I don't think. I think that, and they've brought that up, so it's not entirely sure that it's going to be free to play forever.
Well, hopefully it at least hits it for a stage, because that's my only chance to play it.
It's on sale, $17.
Sounds like I'll regret that in 2 weeks.
I would have thought the same thing, but I'm still been playing it. I've actually been getting more into it, so I don't know. Definitely worth it. If you guys have any questions about Battle Right or want to play or watch someone play, tweet at me at @the_Blevins. But let us move on to the tournament talk. So we only had a couple of pieces of tournament talk, and by that I mean
we don't have anything they did last week, or no?
We probably do, but I figured I would do tournament talk right now while you scrambled to find it because I can't. Seamless transition. I can edit this out. We all know I'm not going to, but I could edit it out. I certainly could edit it out. I've edited things out before. No, I haven't. But let's move on to the tournament talk. So basically, we're just going to talk about the Overwatch World Cup. That's all I can think about. I'm going to be, by the time you hear this live, I will be in California, or at least en route to California for BlizzCon. So all I care about is the Overwatch World Cup. You couldn't convince me to care about anything else but the Overwatch World Cup. So I'm going to... So first off, these results are updated as of not Monday's games, so these are Sunday's results. Up to Sunday, the 30th results. I have not included Monday's results. They're actually going on as we speak. I actually know a couple of the results, and we'll talk about it a little bit, but not going to be reflected right this very second. So, in the A bracket, we have Sweden and Spain at 2-0. We have USA and Russia at 2-0. In Group B. Group C, we have South Korea and Finland at 2-0. And at Group D, we have China at 2-0 with France and Thailand both at 1-1. Oh, man. The USA Russia though.
Yeah, that's our match of the week. We'll just kind of get that out there and throw that out right now. It was an incredibly close match. We're still in the best of 3 stage as we work through all the groups, thank goodness, because Germany against Chile would have just been way too difficult to see in a best of 5. Maybe it would have taken a grand total of 23 minutes instead of the 14 they got it done in. I feel like
True.
As Germany just cruised at that one. Obviously, the only one with pro players or people we've really heard of before. I don't think there's any on Chile. Definitely not many. Germany, though, did have their struggles in the tournament. I'm getting completely off the match of the week, but I just want to mention they had, obviously going 1 and 2 in the group stages, they're not going to advance into the main stages of BlizzCon, but they really did have kind of a really awkward team in the sense that we know a lot of those names, right? You're like, oh, that's the Reinhardt player from this team,
Yeah.
and then you're like,
Internet
oh,
Hulk.
that's the Reinhardt player from the other team, and
That's the Winston player.
He plays Reinhardt, and then the Winston guy. Oh man, there's a lot of really. Oh wait, they're all tanks. So they've really struggled to get much momentum and really teamwork or synergy down, as so many people are playing outside of their comfort zone, and they really didn't get a very, very strong chance to really live up to their names, I guess. You've got guys like Internet Hulk there for Pete's sake. So obviously there's plenty of talent on the team. He was the captain. He filled the extra 2 roles, did it the best he could. Obviously not quite enough. But the match of the week of Russia versus the United States was really, really close. And I only saw the end of it, so I can't speak about the crazy plays. I just know I'm dying to go back and watch it because it went the full distance. And by that, I mean, they used the terrible rule for deciding the tiebreakers when they drew out a map, and they had to go to the 4th map of the best of 3 and decide things on King of the Hill. So anytime you have to do that, you're forced into that situation. Obviously a really, really close match, and it was to decide the stage, which is a big deal for seeding, everything like that. So there was plenty to play for, but Russia just got the best of it. And really, from what I saw, and I can only really speak to the strategy seen in the tiebreak at the end, it just seemed like Russia had a much better command of the game. They were doing a much better job with their ultimate usage and things like that, which I thought was really surprising because the likes of Siegel and those guys over there, really the only non-pro player there is Stir, but he's played a ton of Ana and really has done a fairly good job so far holding his own. For being a non-pro and a personality type, he's really probably on the higher end of the skill cap for people that fall into that category in the tournament. And, they just didn't really save up ults at the end. The last round they were holding it at 99%, and they had like 2 team fights. They could have gone in and just not burned any ultimates and tried to just wait to get 4 or 5 or maybe even the full 6 built up for that last push. And they didn't do that. They continued to use 1 and 2 every time they moved in and kept rotating them. Russia was able to stave things off. Shadowburn, obviously, we're very used to his Genji being out of this world. And when you put him on a map like, I believe it was Nepal, you put him on a map like that where he's obviously going to be very, very comfortable. It was every team fight he seemed to have that blade up, and it might have been nerfed not to last as long, but it lasts just long enough for your whole team to die. But it's when it's Shadowburn on the controls.
Yeah, and one funny thing I watched a lot of the World Cup yesterday, so it would have been on Sunday, and they did the USA interview, and they interviewed Siegel, obviously, and he's like, yeah, we're actually a really great team. We've got a lot of good players. We've got me. Well, he didn't say we've got me, but it's like we've got so and so, him that are all pro players, and then just did not mention Stir. Like, just completely snubbed him, and I'm like waiting, like, because he's like, yeah, our whole team is pro players. It's like me on NRG, here on here, here on here, here on here, here on here, and then just end.
There's only 5 people on our team.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, it just didn't mention Stir at all. So pretty hilarious. But there's actually been a lot of good matches. And before we had the USA versus Russia match, I picked France versus Thailand, which you think France versus Thailand, like, oh man, that's got to be kind of a boring match. Like, everyone was kind of poking fun at France for having such a quote unquote soft lineup of players, not a ton of pro players. Their captain is not a pro player, and then Thailand, who, like, never heard of anyone on Thailand, and like those matches were actually really good. And Thailand actually ended up taking it, and like at the end, like the last match was like back and forth. It was insane. And the best thing to note about Thailand, I never really thought about this in esports, is like they interviewed Thailand afterwards, and they're like, yeah, there were some times where you guys got destroyed, and you guys were all just smiling. Like, what is your thought process? And the guy they interviewed is just like, yeah, so we knew that we were going to be on camera the whole time, like at our best and at our worst. So our team captain was like, no matter what happens, just keep smiling and have your best game face on at literally all times, because the camera is going to be rolling and they're going to be waiting to make your like sad cry face into a meme. So just smile the entire time. It's like, that's amazing advice. Like, that's such and it's such a great way to go about it, right? Like they've, I'm not to go too deep into the science behind it, but there's studies that show that like just having a smile on your face, like literally like the act of smiling increases the amount of happiness you feel, even if it's a minute amount. So like putting a smile on, even if it's a fake smile, is going to make you feel better, and you know, by proxy probably going to make you play better. So kudos to Team Thailand. That's just awesome to hear.
Yeah, really, really funny. I didn't actually catch that. So, but I mean, that's just great advice in general. Like, even if you're doing something you don't want to be doing, just make the best of it. You know, I used to go into work as a cashier and just absolutely hate everything about it leading up into my shift, but we were so customer service oriented at Wegmans, no, go figure, right, that they would like literally yell at you if you were like sullen and in a bad mood when you were dealing with customers. And so you'd have to put this fake smile on, and then I'd end up mad at myself when a customer would walk away and I was like, I was genuinely enjoying that conversation. I have to like remind myself, no, you're angry, you're in a bad mood, you're a teenager, you need to be, you know, you need to
I hate being here. I don't want to work. That was actually just me today saying that.
Yeah, I think it was all of us today, probably. But nonetheless, you know, this I don't even remember what we were talking about in the term. Oh yeah, Thailand and France. Yeah, France I thought really kind of did a really strong job considering everything that was, you know, stacked up against them there. I believe we still have to see their group play out.
They're playing as we speak right now, right?
Actually, it's Finland and South Korea, which is probably next week's match of the week, if I'm being perfectly honest. And that should be live right now. And then Group D will play later on in the evening. Those will be the last two matches of the day. So a ton of Overwatch going on right now. And, you know, from a side note, France was, like you said, really kind of poked fun at and made fun of. And we did a little bit of it here as well. And I thought I knew who the streamer was on their
Alpha
team.
Cast.
And it turns out I have no earthly idea who she was.
Oh, Kitty, yeah.
Yeah, Katie. I completely wrong streamer. I have no idea anything about this one in particular, but I thought she's acquitted herself fairly well, considering the stakes and everything that's going on. They currently sit at number 2 in their group, which, as long as they can stay ahead of Thailand and Singapore, they're probably going to have to win out. I'm not 100% sure who they still have to play against.
Yeah, so it's
they play against China, who's 2-0.
So there's a bunch of winning ins, but like if France wins and Thailand wins, then we're going to have a 3-way tie at 2-1. I don't know if there's like tiebreakers or if they're going to like play a playoff or something, but like
I would guess the head-to-head would cover it since everybody played everybody.
You'd hope so, or you'd think so, but I'd like them to make it a little more exciting. Like they have to play one single match of like whatever the Tavern Brawl in Hearthstone is this week.
No, everybody getting a Lucio ball. Go.
Oh yes, it's high. It's a high score. Junkenstein's Revenge. 6 players. Ooh.
That's a good one.
Ooh, one team gets to be Junkenstein's monster, and like that side, like it's like Left 4 Dead style, where one team gets to be the bad guys.
That would be great, and just really lean right into the exhibition style of what's going on here. But the one thing I've got to say for these teams and for the broadcast teams, everything, it's been pretty phenomenal so far from what I've seen. They're not treating it like an exhibition. This is, from all appearances, it looks like the biggest stage that has existed so far in Overwatch. It's not, because these aren't pre-formed teams. These are fan votes, everything like that. But everybody's approaching it like the teams were talking about their scrims leading up into it. They arrived early to do some practices. let the commentators kind of watch in on their streams so that they're able to really analyze what's going on and have some knowledge going into it, how the teams are functioning, which I thought was a great touch and a really phenomenal thing that they did to assist the broadcasting team. And another thing I want to point out is that there seems to be some stats going on here.
Yeah, the stats and the in-game overlays.
Yeah, the commentators know a little bit about what's going on here. They are telling us, I was watching listen, some of these matches aren't great. Some of them are brutal. And I was watching one of these particular brutal ones with, I don't remember who versus who cares. And it was...
Not U.S. versus enemy.
I honestly, I feel like it was like Sweden versus Brazil. I think that was actually it. So it was...
A dumpster fire.
Right, like you're just not going to get a quality match here. And they were talking about, as things were going on, they're like, only one kill so far for this team, but the score in eliminations is 75-3. And geez, like, and it really highlights what's going on in a game that's so objective based that you can see that happen. And at the same time, like, they do a decent job of like holding out on time some, but it really kind of helps complete the story a little bit. And I thought they're doing a really good job kind of incorporating that in. It might help that they're doing this live at Blizzard HQ basically, and like they're directly sponsored by Blizzard, who might be providing these stats. But I hope it's not going unnoticed, and I want to do our small part here to help make sure it doesn't go unnoticed. That we love seeing these stats. Please provide them, if not to the general public in a competitive play setting, something with custom games where we can see it, where the commentators can see it, and they can use it as a talking point, because whether it tells the whole story or not, it tells some of the story and fills some gaps and tells you some things maybe you didn't know. And I think stats and more transparency would definitely help the viewer experience.
Yeah, 100%. So it is going to increase the I'm not going to say usefulness, because I think that's the wrong word, but it's going to increase the value that the color commentator can add to a broadcast, right? So you've got either Hex or ZP running the like 500,000 task of doing the camera and this and that and this and that and this and that. And then the color commentator will, if they're good, which a lot of them are, they'll come in with, some just general color commentary. But for a newer broadcaster, or maybe someone who's not as good as the hexagrams and the ZPs of the world, that's just starting out, they're going to have this bank of stats to go off of, right? So that'll be good. It's also potentially a great thing if we start getting more formalized usage of coaches. So the coaches might be able to see the stats and be like, okay, you guys, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do the other thing. That's great. Knowing that these stats are there is awesome. And being able to see them is only going to help us.
I hope there's not like a poor guy there trying to like tally everything as it comes through
that can't
on the
be.
kill feed or something. Like, that can't be. They're too accurate about eliminations and things like that.
Yeah, there's no way.
Can mean 5 or 6 eliminations on a team if everybody shot them once.
Right.
So they seem to have that. So I don't think that's the case. But
no, there's no way. Because I know that they have all those stats buried somewhere, because they have those reports where, like, remember, they have like weird like Symmetra stats, like, oh, Symmetra is good because she gets her teleporter within like 30. Like, it was like crazy stats. And also the in-game overlay was awesome too. I'm assuming it was in-game overlay. So it had, like, when it would go over Seagull, it would have Seagull's like perspective, and then it would actually say Seagull USA like in the text. I don't think it was
on like the bottom left by his character portrait.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah, well, they added that when they added the camera. I believe they added that health bar bottom left, and I don't think it used to be there when you went into like first person view. But
and they added the ability to put names in too.
They added team names, yes.
But did they put player names in there too?
Well, I think that's part of that whole like bottom left. You like, just like you're playing.
It's team name and player name.
Your bottom gotcha. Left, and then the team name is up above that. So that is definitely part of the last patch.
Well, that's good too. I mean, it looks so much better than not having it, for sure. And the camera work has been great, and the flow of the tournament, it almost seems like it's been pre-recorded. Like, there's really not a lot. There's like almost no overtalk. I mean, they're taking like small breaks, but they're really small. They're not like, and I hate when tournaments do this. It's like, okay, we're going to be back in 14 minutes. It's like, I'm just gone. I'm gone. Which has been great because, like we talked about before, I think it's been sitting at around, 45, 50K viewers. And you said it got almost up to, in the 70,000 viewers for the Overwatch World Cup.
Yeah, I saw it then at one point, and I was watching Hearthstone and Overwatch side by side for a little bit, and then Hearthstone ended, and that's when I saw it. So, like I said in the pre-show, I'm fairly certain they hosted or threw the viewers over there, or people just interested in Blizzard as a whole, obviously hyped up for BlizzCon this week, kind of organically moved over there as possible. But I wouldn't think 35,000 Hearthstone fans organically find their way to a different stream.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Unless the only thing that 35,000 Hearthstone fans can do organically is spam Crypt Chat. That's all I think they can do.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Miss Lethal.
Oh, yeah, that is also true. They can also myth lethal. But yeah, so overall, like, I'm taking a complete 180 on my view of the Overwatch World Cup. Like, I'm all in. Like, it's been fun to watch. It's been awesome. The production value's been great. The casting's been great. Although I personally am still salty that we're not seeing Hex. But rip.
On that note, it's been mostly ZP and Mr. X, I believe is his IGN that he goes by when shoutcasting. And it's been really throwing me off every time ZP calls him X and I just hear Hex. It's the same thing to me. And like, I just expect it to be hexagrams talking every time. Like, fool me once, fine. But it's been every single time it's happened. And I die inside a little bit each time. So we need to, whatever we can do or whatever we need to do to start the campaign to get hexagrams involved in these bigger tournaments. We got to do it because it's our boy.
Yeah, I want nothing more than to see him cast.
It makes me mad. He's been snubbed like each and every time for these people that I'm sure help bring in crowds from other games, but I don't care. I don't watch those games.
Yeah, I mean, I do not mean to downplay the other casters because they've all been fantastic, but
the one I don't like very much is actually playing in the event, so it's been a nice little reprieve.
Nice. But yeah, so guys, check out the Overwatch World Cup, and you might even see me in the background of some of these the live ones once they actually jump over to BlizzCon. Who am I kidding? You definitely will, because I'm gonna maul my way up to the front for sure.
He'll be the one being tackled by security.
Yeah, and then ripping up and trying to wave my High Noon podcast shirt on camera as much as possible, like when I'm getting dragged away.
I hope it's actually the guy that won that cosplay contest with his Reinhardt cosplay that is security.
Oh my god, he just smashes me with a hammer.
And then he just hammered down to head. And it's just rip Blevins, and all of a sudden there's Reddit posts where I'm looking for a new co-host. Be the most fun.
Oh man, speaking of Reinhardt, this is completely off topic. Someone posted a video where they said, I met Reinhardt today, and I've seen a couple of these, like the guy, the voice actor that does Reinhardt is like really, really good about doing videos with people, and he like embraces it completely. He's like, Reinhardt is ready, even though that was Torbjorn's voice. I don't know why I did Torbjorn's voice, but he does it, and he's like, it's great. But he says something, and he says something about armor, and then out of nowhere in the background, the voice actor for Torbjorn pops into the video, and he's like, "No one loves armor more than me." And it was pretty great. Like, it was just like completely like organic. Yeah, it's on. Oh yeah, it's on Reddit, so you didn't see it. But yeah, I'll post the link in the show notes, and I'll send it over to you too, Death. Yeah, no, it was great. I love the voice acting stuff. Like, one of my opening ceremony is easily and unequivocally the best thing about BlizzCon. Like, the most hype imaginable. Like, I'm getting chills just thinking about going. But besides that, and maybe besides like some of the championships, the voice acting stage is probably the coolest thing at BlizzCon. It's amazing. For you, but even like, not just for me, because I am passionate about voice acting, but like just for anyone, like just seeing the panel and then seeing Deckard Cain do a rap about his favorite drink at Starbucks. Like, come on. You don't get that everywhere.
I mean, we've got rap on the show from you today, so I have to admit, I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Written and performed by me.
That's true. You do. You're a full blown artist. The Blevins record label will be coming out soon, I'm sure.
Yes.
It's just a matter of time.
Confirm Renoed. But let us move on. We've just got a couple more things we want to talk about because there actually was some other, not tournaments, but some big news. So let's move on to...
let's break it down.
Yes, let us break it down. We had some roster shakeups. First off, and a little bit less, I guess, kind of huge, was Splice changed down. So Shayna's goes to step down from the temporary spot on the team with Ninja Nick and Clockwork and Sickness also leaving the Splice roster. So Splice getting shaken up. And then Additonian, Moffat, DPS, and Moffat Flex. So the two different Moffats are set to join the team, with Twitty completing the roster and Shane is Ghost's tank position. So a little bit of a shakeup from Splice. We also, I believe, this was a little bit earlier in the week, but we saw Mendo's confirmed Cloud9, right? Did that got confirmed Renoed, I think?
I haven't seen any confirmations on that, but I've seen some things that really make me think it's headed that direction. If it's not officially official yet, I certainly think we would have seen or heard something to the contrary.
Yeah.
Real quick, just as far as the Splice changes go, I assume you're trying to confirm the Mendo.
Yeah, so I got it. So this is on the Cloud9 Overwatch page. This is the current team: Kai, Surefour, Adam, Mendo Kusai, Rib, and Rolf. With Danon as the general manager. So yeah, that is the team, like, on Cloud9's page. Yeah,
I'm assuming that's not just a current thing. I don't think they put that on their main webpage unless it was official. So you know, obviously they had shown some promise and some serious chops already in their short time. A little inconsistent, but really that's the sort of thing you'd like to think gets shored up when you have some time together and get some solid scrim hours and practice in. So hopefully they continue to improve, get back to at least a shadow of their former self when they were absolutely unstoppable. Would be great for them. I can't imagine we're going to see another full-on domination like we did with Envious, especially now that the lands are going and everybody can see just how that's a different animal. That's not the same thing to go to a LAN and compete in an environment like that as it is online. But as far as the Splice changes go, obviously I knew Ninja Nick a little bit, played with him some on a team in the past, so I'm sad to see that happen. Clockwork always seemed solid to me. He seemed a little streaky, so maybe they're looking for a little more consistency there. And Sickness, I'm not going to lie to you, I'd have to take your word for it that he was on that team to begin with. So I don't know much about him. That just tells me he was probably the other support player. And like Ninja Nick, it was hard to evaluate how they were actually doing in the team because support players really only stick out when they're screwing up. For the most part, you just kind of do your job and nobody knows you. So I'll have to take them at their word that they're going to be able to improve in that spot. But none of the guys they're bringing into the team, to me, are unknown quantities. I can't necessarily tell you where all of them have played in the past, but I can tell you I remember their names from standout spots on wherever they've been in the past. That gets a little confusing with two players with the same name.
No, how can you allow that to happen?
That's just the BNet system, I suppose.
Just coin flip it. Coin flip it.
Right. You have to think it's on purpose too. So there's really, it's probably not anything they'd part with unless they were forced to.
Right.
But presuming they are different people and they've been together, then I probably saw them at the exact same time. But otherwise, like I said, I do recognize the names a little bit to the point where I feel confident that they're adding quality players to their team. Splice definitely not in the top tier of teams for a good little while, but they've been making some shakeups. They've always been close enough there that they're in the conversation, they're in the running, and able to beat anybody at any time for the most part. So hopefully they can get a little more consistent and level things out some.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're seeing these sort of shakeups, with these lower tier teams, even the higher tier teams. I'd like to see I like to see movement, as long as it's not as long as Pluppy doesn't move, because I'm definitely not ordering multiple more jerseys. But the big change, and the one that happened, basically, within an hour of recording the show. Well, within an hour of us planning to record the show. Yeah. Was from NRG, so aka Shaq's team, aka Seagull's team. So the official press release was effective immediately. Seb, Numlocked Barton, and Matthew Clockwork Diaz will be joining NRG's teams. NRG in the team's support and DPS roles. Numlock will play an instrumental role of shot caller on our already talent-laden squad. Clockwork, formerly of Splice, will step into the DPS role to round out the roster. That means that Gods and Pooks have decided to step down from playing competitively for NRG. Additional information on their new homes will be forthcoming. So, a couple of things to parse from that. Some pretty big moves. Clockwork, for whatever reason left Splice and is now on NRG, and arguably higher tier team. So good for him.
Seems like a good move for him.
Yeah. So interesting to see, maybe the, Splice being a relatively obscure team, at least in the Overwatch scene, maybe there was some issues there. I'm always interested to see what the issues were there, just from a curiosity standpoint, and getting to know the inner workings of esports teams standpoint. I always find that interesting. But we saw I had other things I was going to say. I just completely forgot them though.
Well, I'll pick it up where you left off.
Yeah.
I think I know where you're going with it. You also have Gods, who left the team, and he currently is sitting probably at a table with Seagull right now, his former teammate, as they are both competing on Team USA and in the World Cup. So the wording of this press release says that Gods made the decision to step down. So I have to assume that it's less awkward than initially thought when you heard it was happening. To me, nobody chooses to leave a team. It just doesn't seem to happen that often, right? You're probably asked to leave, in my experience,
right?
If you're leaving a team, and
a team like that, at least.
Right, and it doesn't mean there's hard feelings. It doesn't mean you weren't frustrated and ready to try to find somewhere else either. And that seems to be more of the mutual split sort of situation, which is, I'm guessing, where we're at now.
Yeah, there's a couple extra lines at the end that I left out that lead you to believe that it was a mutual and it was on good terms.
Yeah, and Gods wasn't shooting death stares at Seagull the whole time they were playing in the event. They seemed friendly. I did actually witness a little bit of banter between them, the little bit I was able to see of their match today. So it was definitely, it's going to be interesting to see how all that works out. And we'll remember our buddy Seb Barton, Numlocked, was formerly of Creation Esports, and but anyways, yeah, he was formerly of Creation Esports. He was their Reinhardt player, so he's changing roles completely to head over here, and I think probably improving on the overall team quality from where he was at, and especially everywhere. Now Dignitas has really kind of taken a nosedive, in my opinion. I'm not really a fan of the direction they're heading, as somebody pointed out to us on Twitter when I had my rant. But anyways, so it'll be really, really fun and interesting to see how they go. And I think it's worth noting as well that we're seeing more teams intermingle EU and NA talent. So all of us nationalists, I participate for the fun of it, but I don't care too much. But if you're really into the EU NA thing, it might be time to let it go, at least for Overwatch.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the things I was going to mention about Cloud9, is that Cloud9 is now fully half and half. Well, not half and half NA EU, but half US, and then 1/3 EU, and then 1/6 Canada. So it's a mix now. So it seems like the gone are the days of the exclusively NA, exclusively EU. Although if we see a drastic change towards the standardization of team houses and whatnot, I guess it's all kind of a wash at that point, right? It doesn't matter where you're from per se. It's more where you are.
Yeah, I've used this analogy in the past. You know, if my Buffalo Sabres sign a Russian hockey player, they're still the Buffalo Sabres. They don't become
Right.
the Russian Sabres or anything like that. So I definitely view it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It really, as soon as they move, they don't even have to be in a team house. If they just head over into this general continent area, then
Right.
it'll pretty much change the way that gets factored in, at least. But I think it's also kind of an Overwatch specific thing, because not a lot of games let your progress carry over or move with you as you transfer between the servers. It's definitely unique like that. You look at other Blizzard games, for example, Hearthstone. Obviously, you have completely different card pools. Just owning something on NA doesn't mean you own it on EU. So,
Right.
Overwatch definitely lends itself nicely to that, since everything's just kind of there and you're just getting cosmetics. They decided to let those transfer, which I thought was a great choice, and I think it's going to really help the esports scene be as healthy as possible to just kind of improve and increase the player pool that these teams can draw on.
Yeah, so definitely like the intermingling though, and like I like the intermingling, but I also like the national pride thing. But I think that's what the Overwatch World Cup will be for. So, I don't need to watch the Olympics every year. Like I'm fine with just watching my local team or my favorite team from time to time. I don't need to be like USA, USA the whole year. We can,
right, especially since if it became USA versus Pluppy, we all know you'd be a traitor anyways. You turned Benedict Arnold so fast it wouldn't even be funny.
100%. I already did that. Although it's really hard to call.
Layers of like what I can't remember what country he's from. Sweden. He's just got like Sweden jerseys and then USA jerseys just stacked for BlizzCon. Like he's just ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, if I would have thought about it and had the funds, I would have bought a Pluppy jersey for BlizzCon. But rip me. But yeah, that's pretty much all we've got for today. A little bit, actually, not even that much shorter than normal.
No, we can just kind of embrace the tangents when it happens, but it was a content light episode.
Yeah, content light. We still had some stuff to go, so I'm not upset. And then hopefully, so this is my plan, and I'll debrief for what we have for BlizzCon. I'm going to try to record some stuff. I don't have a fancy camera or anything to actually do recording, so it will just literally be phone camera videos, but I'm going to try to do something. If something's cool, or if I meet someone that will do, a little video, I'm going to try to record those and compile those and throw them up on the YouTube page, youtube.com/HighNoonPodcast. So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out on Twitter. I'll probably be posting them to my personal Twitter @the_Blevins, but we'll get the High Noon retweets, so you'll be able to see that. And all that good stuff. If you guys have any questions or concerns or comments or anything about BlizzCon and that you want me to do at BlizzCon or anything BlizzCon related, tweet at me, tweet at the show. I will try to oblige as much as possible. If you're going to be at BlizzCon, tweet at me, tweet at the show. Let's meet up. I'd love to meet you guys. I'm already meeting a couple of people for a variety of things. Throughout the weekend. I'm going to be there from basically Wednesday the 2nd until the following Tuesday, or Monday rather. So if you're going to be there, if you're going to be around, if you're going to be at BlizzCon, if you see me at BlizzCon, say hi, please do. Don't be shy, don't be afraid, and try not to throw too many things at me. But with that being said, let's sign off. Deathblow, where can we find you on the internet and in very soon if you're going to start streaming?
Yeah, I'm going to be logging on and doing that pretty much immediately. So you can find me twitch.tv/D3ATH_BL0W. Otherwise, or if you didn't catch that and you just want to go over to highnoonpodcast.com and just get a link, there is an authors section on the page.
Yes, and you can also find my stuff at the places I mentioned before, also on highnoonpodcast.com, and you can find the show live every Monday at 7 p.m. ish. It's getting more and more ish every week at twitch.tv/the Blevins. That's also where I stream. I definitely stream on Wednesdays, not this Wednesday because I'm going to be at BlizzCon, but I'm starting to stream 100% on Wednesdays and trying to add some more days and some more times. But you can find all the podcast stuff at highnoonpodcast.com. You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud. Huge thanks to Matt Chirino, our partners from Season 1, and to Adam Hoek, who made this awesome McCree outro song that you'll be hearing in just a second.
Real fast.
Yeah.
We're not 100% sure what's going to be going on with next week's episode. As you heard him say, he'll be traveling, and that includes the recording time. So there's a chance I might call him and he does it over the phone or something like that. Well, it might be different. It might be non-existent. We'll have to just kind of play it by ear. Please do bear with us and keep an eye on that.
You should maybe try to get a Deathblow Hexagrams episode in, maybe.
We can explore it. I will reach out to Hex and see what he thinks about it.
We will look into it, so keep an eye out on the Twitter, at High Noon Podcast on Twitter. We will definitely keep you updated with more details to come. It would be kind of awesome if we got, if maybe we recorded on, Sunday or something, and I, got people from Blizzcon. I don't know. There's a lot of different options, so keep an eye out on Twitter. And also, remember that it's high noon.
Got his boots and he put on his hat. He threw the coin away that same day. It's in his past and he's not looking back. He says, finding mine now, God's my way. He's not good, but he sure ain't bad. He'll make amends for the sins that he has. He says, I'll change the world one bullet at a time till I find mine.
Guys, just a reminder, I'm going to be a Blizzcon. Come say hi to me. Okay, bye.